This is Radio Now 95.3 FM. Come for the news, stay for informed conversations.
The president of the ECOWAS Court of Justice, Edward Asante, says that the ECOWAS Parliament should ensure that Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger Republic rescind their decision to leave the bloc. Justice Asante says a reversal will allow the 15-member bloc to continue the, quote, relentless march towards the development of the region. The three countries had announced their exit from the bloc back in January this year, and since then, no major moves have been announced on a possible return to ECOWAS. For more on this, I'm joined by Collins Nweke, who's a foreign affairs commentator. Mr. Nweke, good morning and welcome to the conversation. Fantastic. Yes, I can hear you as well. Thank you for joining us on the conversation. Starting off, right, it's been quite some time. We're about 7 months since the decision by the three countries to leave ECOWAS. Do you think it's a little too late for us to have this conversation around their return, or at least they're staying in the bloc?
Never say never. That would be my reaction. But, the delay and mishandling, the obvious mishandling of ECOWAS of this whole, situation has brought in some very, very serious complications and has indeed challenged, and I hope not irreparably, the chances of, the three countries of the Sahel region rejoining the ECOWAS. Now, ECOWAS might be upbeat by saying that, they give them a notice and all of that. No, their statement was very clear when they announced in January that they are leaving. They said they are leaving with immediate effect. So, as a matter of fact, they have left. Now, one thing I find very, very encouraging is the fact that ECOWAS appears now to be retracing its steps and, did not let its ego to actually override common sense by probably recognizing what they may have done wrong and now doing everything they possibly can to, bring them back on the block.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Nweke, yes. Apologies. Let me ask you this, right? I mean, we saw this deterioration when our own president, Nigeria's president, became chairman of ECOWAS. And beyond his position as chairman of ECOWAS, you also have the unique relationship that Nigeria has with a country such as Niger, for instance. So it seems like there's quite a lot at stake. Would it be more beneficial to the bloc if these negotiations were being spearheaded under the leadership of a different president?
Absolutely, Nabila, you are right. And indeed, the theory of getting in, a neutral player to lead, such negotiations like you have alluded to is something that ought to have been applied from the get-go. Now, our president, as a consequence of our relations with Niger being a border of, Nigeria, and indeed the twin sort of relationship between Nigeria and that country actually made it a bit more difficult, more complicated. Now, Mr. President of Nigeria, who is leading ECOWAS at the moment, his time is almost up. And if you can notice, Nabila, they probably realize the point that you have just made now, because the announcement of consolidated efforts to get them back on the block was made by the president of, ECOWAS Court of Justice. Is that a coincidence? No, it's not a coincidence. It could have been made by President Bola Tinubu, but I think there has been an intentional decision for President Bola Tinubu to take the back seat in the remaining period of his presidency of his chairmanship of ECOWAS, and then they walk it through. Yes, so it makes sense for him to take the back seat, and it appears that that's what they are doing right now.
And just as we wrap up this conversation, I wonder what you've seen from the three countries themselves, because shortly after the announcement of their exit, they also announced their own alliance for the three states in themselves. Does it work to their benefit to stay within ECOWAS or to simply chart their own course?
I think it always works in their benefit. Now, there is a bit of a grandstanding here, so on their own part, and as well as solidifying their own position, their own negotiating position. Now, it won't be the first that we're hearing of, countries of the Sahel actually trying to group themselves together and all of that. They've done it before. About five countries, it didn't survive. Now they are trying to reinvigorate, an old story that appeared to be dead and buried. So I think there is the realization on their part that they are better off within the larger group, but they are determined to constitute as most nuisance as possible to get back on ECOWAS and, make their position stronger.
Mr. Nweke, thank you so much for joining us on the conversation this morning. Mr. Collins Nweke is a foreign affairs commentator speaking to me on the call by the president of the ECOWAS Court of Justice, Edward Asante. Mr. Asante is calling on the ECOWAS Parliament to make sure that Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger Republic rescind their decision to leave the bloc. As you know, ECOWAS had come out and said that, look, according to the rules, it takes you a full year to exit officially from the economic regional bloc. And we wait to see how that plays out. January next year makes it 1 year since that announcement. On Now Breakfast this morning, in a few short minutes, Naira and Kobo will come your way. And this time around, we're looking at the cost of potatoes in the market. I'm Nabila Usman. Stick around.
This is Radio Now 95.3 FM. Come for the news, stay for informed conversations.